Okay. I think we're live. And if we're not, we'll be live soon. Hopefully. We're going to check on our phone, make sure we're live. Y'all, it was supposed to be on YouTube. I thought it was going to be like super duper fancy and go live on YouTube. And, you know, life just had other plans. And by life, I mean YouTube had other plans. Okay. So we have you pulled up if anybody should be joining us live for this really awesome training that I just put together literally this morning. I put the slides together this morning. Like the content is legit and something that I have been thinking on, working on, brainstorming as we do in our businesses, right? Like, and this is the thing. This is so not part of the training, but it's really, really important. Here's the deal. Your business is going to continue to grow and move and change, and like every single iteration of your business is not going to look exactly the same. Here's the deal. I'm going to talk to you today, my done for you service providers, whether you are a copywriter or an OBM or a social media manager or a tech VA or some sort of like specialist. We're going to talk about what you need to do, the 3 simple steps to get you booked out in your business after you've like chosen your niche. Once you've chosen your niche, you do these 3 simple steps and continue to like do them over and over and over again. And you will be like so shocked how your business just transforms. And here's what's really, really beautiful. The framework that I'm going to share with you today, that is a brand new framework that it's brand new in the sense that like I have now given it structure. It is not brand new in the sense that like you've never heard these things from me before. And when I share those things with you, no matter what iteration your business is at, if you go through that framework, that is the steps that you need to take in order to have the simplest business that is going to support you, that is going to do the thing that you wanted to do. And if you have dreams and aspirations and goals to really scale your business and to scale it beyond what you can even imagine, it starts with the simple framework that I'm going to share with you today. So what's really beautiful is we're talking specifically about like getting booked out in your done for you service provider business. And if and when you are ready to move yourself on to the next step or change, mold, pivot, whatever it is, you're going to use the same framework. It's so beautiful. You guys, I'm so excited. So excited. So if you end up joining me live, just say, hey, I'd love to know who's here. If you are watching the replay and you're doing it on a platform where you can leave me comments, like engage with me, answer the questions, ask questions. I love nothing more than being able to come back and continue to support you as you are experiencing this training for the very first time. So, hi, my name is Elise Colson. I am a business coach for done for you service providers. And my sole mission is to help you create consistent 5K months while only working 20 hours a week. For me, that is the most beautiful marriage between supporting my family financially, because I have to like make money, and still getting to have as much freedom as I possibly want in my life, and to support my kids and be available for the things. And I know for a lot of done for you service providers, it's the same sort of thing. Like 5K months really is for a lot of us a really good goal that is going to allow you to continue to run a simple business. There's a lot of different business models out there that are far more complex, that are like, have a lot of moving pieces. And should you want to run a business like that in the future, that's totally up to you. But for me, and the reason why I started my business was so that I could be more available for my kids, so that I could feel like I was living my life versus just kind of reacting to my life and not having to ask for time off and being available to my family when emergencies happen and still being able to financially support people without having to then also like manage an entire team. This was really like 5K months was completely and totally doable as a done for you service provider, as a solopreneur who didn't need to have all of these other teammates, which then leads to a whole nother like set of responsibilities as a business owner. And we're going to dive into a little bit because one of the things that I talk a lot about is not just helping you create consistent 5K months while only working 20 hours a week, but doing it in a way that like you don't have to create digital products, you don't have to create an agency, and you don't have to become a coach. You get to do it with the skill set that you currently have right now, or that you have recently niched down into. Okay. So the breakdown for this training, we're going to talk about you've niched down, right? Like, and everybody told you like that's the thing that you needed to do in order to start really landing clients that you wanted to be working with. And it's not happening yet. So like why do you not have this like plethora of clients just like pouring out? Where are they? We're going to talk about the simple framework, which I'm so excited to share with you. And then we are going to talk about the 3 simple steps to take that are actually going to get you booked out. The whole name of this training, the whole point of what we're doing here. Okay. One of the things that I realized, and I'll share a little bit in a minute about my whole journey, is when you finally niche down, the way that you were running your business before is not the way that you're going to keep running your business. There's like the newbie VA, the person who has just started their business. A lot of times newbie VAs are kind of doing everything and anything because you don't know what you want to be doing. That was very much me. Like people want you to niche down like super duper fast. It's like, I don't know what I want to do. I barely even know that like this is a reality and a thing that I can be doing. And so it was kind of like, I mean, cool. I don't know what niche to niche down into because I don't know how to serve people. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what services to provide. You don't have the answers to those questions until you start doing things. And so the newbie phase is very much figuring out what kind of stuff you want to do, how you want to serve people. And so you got to try things. And then you get to the point where it's like, cool, I know what skill set I want. And for some of you, you may end up going through a certification program or taking a course that helps you like really refine those skills. And that's amazing. That absolutely is going to help you with like owning that expertise because you have this really defined skill set. But once you figure out what that is, now you can't be doing the same things you were doing before. You can't just go into a Facebook group and like comment on all the comments. You can't just like reach out to people and be like, cool, what do you need me to do? Can you keep running your business like that? Sure. There are people who have decided that like that's how they're going to run their virtual assistant business and they're done for you service provider business. Totally fine. For me, that was like, you never know who you're going to end up working with. And you're kind of at the mercy of them dictating what it is you're doing versus the other way around. You don't really feel like a business owner. You feel more like a contracted employee. And so to shift yourself, now you have this beautiful skill set. You have this specialty. This is how you want to be serving people. You can't do the same things you were doing before. So we got to make some changes. A little bit of background about me first, though. This is kind of a very generalized timeline of my transition from starting my business to becoming fully booked out in my business, because that is the piece that is most relevant to you. Am I right? So I started my business in May of 2018. My daughter, who is my middle child, had just been born in March of 2018. And I really just wanted a way to spend more time with my kids. Or at least that's what I thought I wanted, right? If you can relate, let me know. And so I started my business, and some things you should know about me. I'm incredibly introverted. My life before business owner was as a teacher and as an educator. And the thing about being a teacher and an educator is like, you don't learn how to be a business person. You learn how to be a teacher. And there's a lot of overlap, but you have to be able to make those connections versus like somebody telling you how to go out and network with people. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. And that was really difficult. That was really, really hard for me. And so I started my business with all of the best intentions. I'm a really great learner, love like doing a course on my own. I will be successful. I can do the thing. I don't need somebody holding my hand. I am a self-starter and a self-learner. Cool. Did that piece. It was the implementation, though, that I really, really struggled with. And so because I wasn't really putting myself out there and I was being told all of these things, like, you have to pick a niche. And I was like, I don't even know. I don't know. It took me a long time to land my first client, but I finally did it. In December of 2018, I landed my first client. I was making $150 a month. And it was like that first coming over that first belief. I needed to believe in myself that I could actually make this happen, which was awesome. I did it. Yay. And I thought everything after that was going to be so, so easy. And it was not. I continued to struggle for the next 6 or 7 months for a lot of reasons. Like, holy cannoli, I can't even go into all of the reasons why I struggled. Um, it's for another time. But when I finally did is I started talking to people. And because I was talking to people, even though my niche was wonky and I was still doing a lot of things that people were, it was just like, tell me what you need help with and I can probably figure it out. I'm a very good problem solver. Um, or I like had a niche, but I wasn't actually doing the thing. I did start to see some momentum, and that was really beautiful. And sitting right around August, September of 2019, I had 9 clients. And that feels really like fancy pantsy, right? Like, holy cow, she's so successful, quote unquote. And the thing that people didn't know is that like I was collecting clients. That's really what I was doing. I was so focused on needing to make those 5K months so I could quit my job that I wasn't treating my clients very well. I was doing the work, but like it was an exchange of time and money. And ultimately, if you want to be keeping your clients and you want to keep the good ones, it has to be something different than that. And so what ultimately ended up happening, because there were a lot of things I wasn't doing that I needed to be doing, not to mention I didn't really have a niche. And so I was serving all of these people in all of these different areas. In December of 2019, I lost 2/3 of my clients in a month. It wasn't, it wasn't like one here, one there, yada, yada, yada. It was like all of them, all 2/3 of them gone before the start of January of 2020. But then you'll see if you look at the timeline, by June of 2020, I was fully booked out. I had struggled for 18 months, and then somehow in the matter of 6 months, I was able to make like this huge turnaround. So like, how the heck did that happen? The first step was the step that you've already taken. I niched down, like for real. I picked a set of skills and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to serve people. And then there's some things that I know a lot of you are like, cool. We did that. Now what? These are some of the mistakes though that I see a lot of people making, and I was making a few of them too. I had been making them though before I picked my skill set, and so I knew not to do these things. I knew what changes I needed to make coming in to gaining those next few clients, because that was made all the difference. And that is what allowed me to become fully booked out in 6 months. And you can absolutely do it faster than that if you have the right skills, if you know the steps to take. So some of the top mistakes that I see done for you service providers making after they niche down is that they're still creating packages that are based on hours, or they're based on the like services. And that's not how we have to create our packages now. We have to start changing the way that we think about how we serve our people. A lot of people have a specific skill set that they've niched down into, but they haven't clearly defined their who. They're still looking at it as like, well, I could serve this person and this person and this person. And they're like three totally different people at very different points in their businesses. And so then it becomes very difficult to talk to each of those people about how you're solving their problem, because you don't fully understand the problem you're solving. If the problem you're solving is a nice to have problem, the problem's not nice to have, but the solution is nice to have, then they're more than likely not going to put their money behind it. You have to be solving a like keep you up late at night problem. This is affecting how much money my business is bringing in problem. And that's really hard to do if you don't have a clearly defined who. Or if the clearly defined who that you've chosen doesn't actually value the thing that you're doing. They see it more as like, well, that would be nice, but I don't necessarily need it in order to keep running my business. Okay. One of the other big mistakes that I see is not directly reaching out to ideal clients. A lot of done for you service providers, a lot of business owners are sitting back and waiting for somebody to come and find them, or waiting to comment on a job op. And I have no problem with commenting on job ops. I actually think it's a really beautiful thing that you can give yourself visibility, but it has to be strategic, and it is not the only way that you are putting yourself out there. That's a tangent we won't get into today. And then the other big mistake that I see is for those business owners, for those done for you service providers who have really started to gain clients, but they're starting to get burnt out on the work that they're doing, and they don't necessarily want to be working more, but they want to make more. They feel like their next best step is to create digital products. And that's going to solve their money problem, and wanting to make more money, but not having to work as more. And there's a lot of things that done for you service providers do not understand about creating something new, whether it's a digital product or a course or becoming a coach, whatever it is. You have to be marketing yourself or marketing the thing that you're talking about. And if you're so busy in marketing a digital product, that is a very short-term solution to a longer term goal of like wanting to make more money. because you don't just want to make more money right now, you want to make more money in the long term. And as a done for you service provider, the best way to do that is to bring on retainer clients. So once I had lost 2/3 of my clients and I was finally like, okay, cool. I need to niche down. I need to pick my skill set. These were the steps that I did after that. I had to start thinking about my services different. And this was something I mentioned on the last slide, is like, you can no longer be thinking about yourself as a service provider. You have to start thinking about yourself as somebody who's going to transform somebody else's business. You have to be talking about what you do as this like collection of, this is the problem I'm solving for my ideal clients, for my specific who. And so you're not just, I didn't just pick a set of skills. I picked a who and a specific who. And when I did that, then I was able to go and talk to people and do market research and figure out the problem I was solving and put it in their words, so that not only my content, but like any conversation I was having with people, I could very easily translate what I was doing into the problem that I was solving for them. And when you present it as like, here is the problem I'm solving, and specifically for you, it changes everything. They no longer see it as just a contracted role of like an exchange of money for the services. It's way bigger than that. And the other big thing that I did is I started talking to people directly, like sending direct messages, which I know so many people are so against, which is fascinating to me. But if you do not talk to them directly, how are you ever supposed to form a connection and build relationships, which is where all sales start from? And so ultimately, what I had done is I had walked myself through the simple framework, which is the brand new framework that I have finally been able to put a name to and put into practice, not just with my 5K roadmap bootcamp people, not just with my group coaching students, not just with my Voxer clients, but every single one of them is walking through this framework to some degree. And so if you want to be living and breathing a simple lifestyle that doesn't require a lot of complication, you are using this simple framework. You have to set yourself up for success, which means you are setting goals, you are doing the mindset work and figuring out what is going to get in your way as you move yourself into the next step. You are clearly defining your ideal client, and not just an ideal client, but like a dream client. Who is that person you absolutely want to work with? And how are you going to weed out people to make sure you're not working with the wrong people? You got to do the market research. We can't just be creating packages and offers out of our brain because we think we know what they want. You have to be doing the market research. You have to be talking to your people. And this is something that I specifically work with my boot campers on in particular, because a lot of the time we don't understand how to use the market research after we do it. So it's not even just doing the market research, but then how it feeds into and makes everything else better. You have to be creating no-brainer packages that talk about your transformation. You have to be doing the legwork, which is creating content, networking, reaching out to people directly through DMs, through meeting in person. There's a whole lot of ways to like physically get in front of somebody. and build a connection so that you can determine if they will potentially be somebody you want to keep working with. And then ultimately, the last piece is creating a really excellent client experience. So people want to continue working with you. It is a whole lot harder to have to bring on new clients than it is to nurture and treat the ones that you already have really well. As long as they are dream clients, as long as they are clients that you want to keep working with. And so if you do each of these things, if you walk through this framework, it's really hard to go wrong. This sets you up for a really simple business, which then makes it easier to like live your life. That's ultimately what we all want. We don't want to have to be stuck behind a desk all day long. Okay. And so what exactly does this mean for you? Look at those cute babies. The simple framework is how I continue to run my business today. It is how every single one of my clients is running their business, and they will absolutely tell you that it brings clarity and simplicity to how they are continuing to run their businesses. So many of them have run into like huge life events that have happened. And because they have set up their business simply and sustainably, it hasn't completely fallen apart. And that's huge. The number of business owners that I see on a regular basis who are throwing in the towel because they have not created sustainability in their businesses breaks my heart. Like it's devastating to me. And if you wake up one morning and you want to go back to a 9 to 5 and you have lots and lots of reasons why, and it is your choice, bravo to you. I fully support you. I will be your biggest cheerleader. But for a lot of those people that I see, it doesn't come down to that. It comes down to have to. They don't know how to go find clients. And finding clients is the like next level of doing the work beforehand, which is the entire front end of the simple framework. You have to know who you're talking to. You have to know how you're solving these problems, and that will then help you land the clients. I so much love being in the driver's seat of where my next client comes from, because then I also get a say in like whether or not we are working together. And I want you to have the same thing too. So, what are these 3 simple steps? What exactly are you doing in order to become fully booked out now that you've niched down? Now that you've nailed your niche, what are you doing now? Step 1, you need to figure out your who. And I would be incredibly specific, because that leads you into step 2. You got to do some market research. And if you're like, Elise, market research makes me want to throw up, I hate the idea of market research, I've done market research in the past, it just hasn't been super informative, then that means that we're not doing it correctly. You don't know what questions to ask. You don't know how to figure out who your people are. And then you don't know what to do with that information once you have it. And I help my clients do all of those things through the 5K Roadmap Bootcamp. And so that might be an option for you if that's the place that you're at. And then that third step is to start talking to people. You want to use your market research. You want to make sure that you're finding the specific who. You're not just like reaching out to everybody. But doing the first 2 steps makes the third step that much easier, because your market research is the thing that helps you create the different questions that you want to be asking people when you're reaching out to them. And if talking to people and making that one-on-one connection and sending DMs still feels really, really slimy and salesy and just like, blah, I don't want to do it. I do have a brand new training that I just put together, a low ticket offer that I would love to send to you. It'll be in the notes of this training so that you can go and check it out. But it's all about like how to actually build connection through direct message conversation. And then like how to use that to create your lead gen strategy. Because if you don't have a lead gen strategy, how the heck are you going to know where your clients are coming from? Okay. I did want to give you some examples of these 3 steps and like my current coaching students who have gone through them and like what it has done for their businesses. Because we can talk all day long about what these steps are, but if you don't know who I'm talking about, like if you don't see it in action with real examples, it's really hard. It's really hard to then know like what your next step is. So this is my friend Renee. She is amazing. I love Renee so much. Renee has been in my group coaching program for 2 years. And when she first joined, she was doing a lot of different things for a lot of different people, trading time for money, all of the things that we do when we first start out, but she didn't know what she wanted to niche down into yet. And that's fine. I can't push you into that. However, in the challenge that I did over the summer in 2022, she finally decided she wanted to niche down into being an OBM. And she's phenomenal at it. Having personally worked with her as a service provider, she's just so good. But the thing that started happening is that she found that the people she was working with didn't actually fit her idea of OBM work. She was doing a lot more like VA work than she was OBM work. And it really came down to the who. She was saying that she was an OBM and that was great and people would interview her, but like she wasn't really nailing down what it was that they were looking for. And so she joined the 5K Roadmap Bootcamp last summer in August of 2023. And the big thing we were able to do is better define who the who was. And figure out like what they were looking for and the support that they actually needed so that her packages reflected that. Your packages need to reflect what it is that your who is deciding they need help with. If it doesn't, it's going to be like 2 ships passing in the night. You're not going to know. You're going to miss it. And so she was able to do some market research and she determined and was able to better define her who and what support they actually needed. And then her packages were able to reflect that. And in December of 2023, her most recent client that she landed was absolutely an ideal client. It was also the easiest landing of a client that has ever happened for her. Because she wasn't trying to fit someone who was not ideal into these packages she had created. And so a lot of times when we do something like that, there's misalignment. This person knew specifically this was the help she needed. Renee was able to say, like, cool, I can help you. This is how I do that. This is what package you fit into. And then it was a yes on both fronts. Okay. If you're like, Elise, does it really even matter? Just like, can I serve all different kinds of who's? What does it really matter? Everybody needs help with OBM work. Everybody needs to be showing up on social media. Everybody needs all of this sort of support. So like somebody's going to want to work with me. And you might not be wrong, but if you don't know how to translate it, it's going to be really difficult to I don't want to use the word convince because that's not what you're doing. You want them to already be on board with you by the time that you are through with having a discovery call, because they understand that you understand what they're doing. And so like, this is my friend Jess. I love Jess very much. She originally decided to niche down into content repurposing for podcasters, which is great. Like, that is a great skill set, and podcasters definitely need help. But the first super niche that she picked was a problem. And part of the problem with it was that she hadn't done the market research. So like the people she wanted to be working with were true crime podcasters. That's great. There's a lot of true crime podcasts, right? But the thing is, they weren't super problem aware. Showing up on social media, repurposing their content over into Instagram was either a nice to have problem, like, well, that would be nice if we could solve that problem, but it wasn't super duper important. Or you have these hobby podcasts, and so they don't have any money coming in. So how the heck are you supposed to support them? And so we had to switch up the who. We had to find a who that was like, you know what? I really do use my podcast as a funnel to get people into my paid offers. There needed to be some money behind it. And so then ultimately what she ended up doing in order to show off her expertise to these people, because she knew that they had a problem and she knew how she could solve that problem because of the market research that she had done, she started landing more discovery calls, and that translated into dream clients because now she had created this lead gen strategy behind truly understanding and knowing what their problem was, and knowing that they knew what their problem was. This is Terica. I love Terica. You will notice I say that I love all of my clients. Not a lie. 1000% true. So Terica started when she joined my group coaching program a little over a year ago. She had niched down into bookkeeping, but she still had some VA clients. Ultimately, she let go of those VA clients. But the thing that she realized she wasn't doing is she knew she had her skill set. She knew what she was doing. She knew how she was solving people's problems, but she wasn't showing up. She wasn't doing any of the legwork. She wasn't talking to people. She wasn't creating content around the problem she was solving. And as soon as she started doing that, as soon as we put a networking plan together and creating content, she was landing a client every single month for the next 7 months, which is insane. Insane to be landing clients at that pace. And it all came down to the fact that like she was missing that last step. She wasn't showing up in front of people. If you don't show up in front of people, how the heck are they even going to know like what you're doing? And then trust that you know what you're doing. And so here's the deal, my friends. We've talked a lot about like what you need to be doing. We have those 3 steps: really defining the who, doing some market research, and then doing like talking to people, doing the legwork, networking, creating content about what you're doing. Right? Well, lucky for you, I'm going to be doing a free challenge that really dives in more to each of these different pieces and really dives into the entirety of the simple framework. And I would love for you to come. So you can join the Simple Way to 5K Months challenge. Day 1, we're going to be talking about what it actually looks like to make consistent 5K months as a done for you service provider. I remind you, we're not talking about digital products. We're not talking about starting an agency. We're not talking about becoming a coach. None of those things. With the skills that you have right now, you can be making consistent 5K months and not be working more than 20 hours a week. That is 100% a reality that you can have. There just might have to be some changes you have to make to your business. So we're going to talk about what that actually looks like. Day 2, we're diving into making you the irresistible choice to your potential clients. I would love to get on a discovery call and like be a yes before the discovery call even starts. Like that would be amazing, right? And then the last day is landing your next dream client, because that's ultimately what we want. In order to be making 5K months, you got to have dream clients in order to get there. So we're going to be talking about each of these different things. You can register for the completely free challenge either by scanning the QR code or clicking the link. The link will also be in description, show notes, those sorts of things. So you can click the link there as well. There is the opportunity to upgrade to the 5K Insiders Club, where you get to be VIP with me on the calls every single day of the challenge. You get to, you have lifetime access to all of the recordings, and you get 2 extra trainings. One is on networking without burning out, because I know that's a thing. And the other one is the how-to of getting yourself in front of high quality leads. Like, how do you actually do that? So it is very much worth the $27 to upgrade to become a 5K Insider. All right, my friends, thank you so, so much for joining. If you have any questions, absolutely feel free to reach out to me. And I can't wait to see you inside the challenge.